Are you planning on moving to New Mexico here in 2024, but you're not sure exactly where to start? Well, lucky enough for you, and today we're going to be going over the ultimate relocation guide. So grab your pen and your pad and let's get into today's video. Now, first up on this list is going to be the diversity in our landscapes. Now, when we are talking about the different areas that we have here in New Mexico, especially in Albuquerque, because Albuquerque is pretty diverse, to be honest with you guys. We're talking mountains, desert, rivers, everything that you can think of. New Mexico pretty much has it. Now, there is going to be some split differences, especially here in Albuquerque when we're talking about what areas you're going to want to live in. Now, the east side, of course, is going to be more mountains. In the middle, the Rio Grande Valley, it's going to be super green. The river is going to be flowing through your neighborhoods and stuff like that. And then, of course, the west side is going to be a little bit more desertous. Now, again, when we cut New Mexico in half, the northern part of New Mexico is going to be more of that southern Colorado Rocky Mountain vibe with all the mountains, all the river valleys, and everything that is beautiful and green. And then, of course, southern, there is going to be more desert, more shrubs and all that when you are traveling through there. So be mindful of what city you're living in or wanting to live in when you're moving down to New Mexico. Man, these walk and talks are pretty cool. Get you guys outside to see exactly the landscape. Like I talked about, I live on the west side of Albuquerque, so it's a little bit more desert, and believe it or not, it's still green. Right now it's, the end of March and everything's starting to bloom. It's been kind of gloomy and kind of cold the past couple of weeks, so kind of bear with us on this spring. I feel like it's gonna be a late spring here. But anyways, guys, when we're talking about New Mexico and its rich heritage and culture, we are talking about, the deep cuts, family gathering, because the Native American and Hispanic culture here is deep, right? And that's what they really predicate themselves on, and taking care of family, their spaces, their environments, making sure that the next generations get to enjoy everything that this beautiful world has to offer. Now, in terms of events go, of course, you're gonna have, one of the bigger events, Gathering of the Nations, all the farmers markets here locally in Albuquerque and throughout New Mexico, right? Because there's a lot of farm towns, a lot of old school kind of living. So it's gonna be pretty cool to, go to Taos, Red River, or even down to Las Cruces and experience the different cultures and the different vibes that they have there. Of course, Las Cruces is more of a college town and it's super close to El Paso, so you are gonna see a little bit more of a younger crowd. Northern New Mexico, still very old school, small towns, very mountainy, very vibey like that. So chill, laid back culture is pretty much gonna be at the core as well. I always love to interject that to make sure that people remember that we're not a super high speed society. Yeah, we got some things that are moving as far as our infrastructure goes, but to be honest with you, anywhere in New Mexico that you're going, even in Albuquerque, the larger city, it's still pretty chill and laid back for the most part. What a beautiful morning on this walk that we're having. It's still a little chilly, the end of March. Seems like spring is rolling in a little late, but I wanted to remind you guys that my name is Eli, and if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. Do yourself a huge favor and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom, right? Somewhere along there, the little red button with the thumbs up or whatever. And to remind you guys, as much as I love doing these videos, I am also a licensed broker here in the state of New Mexico, and me and my team are ready to help you guys with that home move, whether you're planning on moving down here the next 30, 60, or 90 days. Me and my team would love to hop on a quick video call with you guys to make sure you're making all the right decisions when it comes down to moving to any places in New Mexico. And we mainly help people with the purchase of their homes. We do have some resources that help out some renters find that perfect house before they make that decision. So if this is you, feel free to reach out because we'd love to help. Now, let's get back to our walk. You know what I find funny is when people ask me about the affordability and cost of living and all of New Mexico, and to be honest with you, it's pretty diverse. So especially when it comes to the housing, if we split up New Mexico into 3 sections, right? We got the north, the middle, and the south. The north is gonna be probably the more expensive because you're looking at mountains, closer to Colorado, tons of rivers. So it's very scenic, it's very beautiful, and people are gonna pay big money for that. Places like Taos, the average housing cost is over $600,000. Now, daily life all across the board here, to remind you guys, it's gonna be pretty much the same. It's probably gonna be the cheapest in all of the country, to be honest with you. Now, when we are talking about the middle of New Mexico, you are going to be looking at $350,000 for the average house price. Southern, like Las Cruces and all those places down there, 270, but you're going to be closer to El Paso. So there is going to be a ton to offer as far as like things to do and, you know, getting away for a little bit, right? Change the scenery and all depending, right? Because if you are going to be working at like Sandia Labs, Los Alamos, Intel, places like that, of course, you're going to live in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, also known as places that are a little bit more centrally located. So you are going to be paying around $350,000 for a house. Now, if you're going to New Mexico State, the houses down there in Las Cruces are around $270,000. So really be mindful of your cost, what's going to fit your budget, and exactly where you're going to want to live, because Las Cruces, believe it or not, has palm trees. So if you like palm trees, you're going to want to move to southern New Mexico. Alrighty guys, now before we end this walk and head inside to wrap up the video, I want to talk about the job market here in New Mexico. Now, more than likely you're moving down here to Albuquerque, where there's opportunity with Sandia Labs, Los Alamos, and a couple of the other entities that are engineering firms like Intel. They're providing a ton of resources and a ton of opportunity for people who live out of state because they like to recruit from other colleges. My buddy Jeff, he works at Sandia Labs, and he was letting me know that there's a lot of people moving down here to work for Sandia Labs, which is pretty freaking cool. I've had other conversations with people who come down here to work for Eclipse, which is going to be like the private jet company where they build private jets and all that stuff. So pretty cool to see all these different opportunities popping up down here. I mean, you recently had Amazon move into the neighborhood, and then of course other places like northern and southern New Mexico have their own opportunities, but more than likely you're moving down to Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, or Las Olas because of these opportunities, and the opportunities just keep getting bigger. So pretty cool to see that even locally our small businesses are gaining a ton of traction and providing so much opportunity for a bunch of different people. So sun's starting to come up. It's going to be a nice day today. The clouds are moving pretty fast, but still pretty chilly. So let's head inside and finish up this video. All right, guys, I wanted to touch on the healthcare that we have down here before we head off inside. Our healthcare system is just continuously growing. I mean, you've heard me talk about it in previous videos. UNM, Presbyterian are just taking over and dominating. And what this provides to local residents anywhere in the state is that they're branching out their resources. And what do I mean by that? There's places like Espanola, Taos, down in Ruidoso, where a lot of these people are living within the communities. And really the central hub is here in Albuquerque. And with them living within those communities, they're able to provide services to the people within their, you know, town or city, right? So it's pretty cool. And with adding technology on top of that, it makes it super easy for you to get a visit in. So I know we do it with my son. My wife does it all day at work. I mean, everything that she does as far as like scheduling patients, filling prescriptions, all within the city of our bedroom is pretty freaking cool. So even working for these companies is awesome. They're always providing opportunities. They're always hiring. I know my wife is interviewing a couple of people today to fill a position that they lost just recently. So if you're looking for something, go ahead and apply. Let's get you down here. And hey, if you're looking for a house, I'd love to help you out with that too. Yo, it's not every day that I get to dress up like this. So being on camera, dressed up, ready to go. I just got back from a listing appointment. It went very well. People were super excited to sell this house. We even got a little emotional. So it was a little cool to be able to, you know, help somebody that is moving on to the next step, especially with a lot of family changes going on. But really brings me to my next point of how great the community aspect here in Albuquerque is. The community aspect as far as like everybody getting together for holidays. I mean, Easter's right around the corner. I think it's this weekend. If you're just watching this, Easter just passed, and Easter is a big holiday here. We do this whole sunrise mass down at the Lobo Stadium. Tons of people go. I mean, it's a packed house. You really got to fight to make sure that you're getting in the stadium. And I mean, you're literally there at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So super cool to see. The Chimayo walk is another cool one. That one is basically a pilgrimage from wherever you're at in your house all the way up to the Santuario. Now, a couple of other things going on now that it's springtime with local events and community coming together. You're going to start to see a lot of farmers markets, a lot of pop-ups. I mean, there's going to be something to do every weekend now that the weather's getting a little bit warmer and people are going to want to get outside. So this community engagement and everything that we have to offer is such a great one, guys. Now, New Mexico's lifestyle is super chill. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of attractions, so a lot of the things that you are going to be doing are going to be outside. So we advocate so much for all the different sports that are outside, like hiking, biking, mountain trails. I mean, you can go down and just walk along the bosque if you consider that a sport, but really people are making a big effort to just get outside, and that's everywhere. Now, we do have some attractions like Uncle Cliff's and then like Main Event, Dave and Buster's, all those things here in the big city, but anywhere else like Taos, Rio Doso and all that stuff, they're big outdoor mountain towns. So be mindful of where you're gonna wanna live. And again, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and I can help to make sure that you're making the best decision to fit your lifestyle and your needs, because even though Albuquerque is super laid back, we still like to have some progression in there, and there is some little pockets here and there that is going to provide that for you guys. So if you are interested in moving down here pretty soon, feel free to hit us up. That way I can make sure that you're moving to the right area. Now, talking about the outdoors, aside from it always being ideal just to get out and enjoy some fun outside, the climate and the weather here is going to be another huge reason why people are moving down here. And I talk about it so much in all my videos, right? You guys know 300 plus days of sunny weather that we get here, and we do experience all 4 seasons. So depending on where you live, you might deal with a lot more snow than others. So if that's not something that you want to do, please feel free to reach out. That way we can make sure that you're making the right decisions before you move into that house, because literally it can be raining 1 minute, snowing 1, and then by the afternoon it's all cleared up. So it's not going to be super extreme, but it's going to be enough that it's going to be an inconvenience, especially if you are traveling early in the mornings to work. So you want to make sure that, hey, number one, if you are living in the East Mountains, what does that look like? Do you work from home? Do you not? Do you want to live closer to work? Or if you live somewhere up north, like, hey, you are going to deal with a ton of snow because it's Rocky Mountain country. And in the south, it is going to get a little bit hotter. So if you are up for the challenge and you want to deal with those, or you're just not too sure exactly where you're going to want to land, feel free to reach out. Now, a great question that I get brought up all the time when I am having these conversations with people over these Zoom calls is, what is Albuquerque's transportation like, and what is New Mexico's transportation like? And to be honest with you, New Mexico is pretty much built like a grid along with Albuquerque, and really the main highways, I-40 and I-25, will cross here right in Albuquerque. So anywhere that you want to go east, west, it's going to be pretty easy just to navigate through the city or even through the state if you are planning on traveling. Now, aside from that, in Albuquerque alone, it's easy depending on what side of town you live on. Now, if you are traveling to the east side early in the morning, I am gonna apologize right now because it's gonna be pretty bad, because number one, the sun is gonna be directly in your face and you're gonna be traveling in traffic. Now, if you're on the opposite side and you're traveling from the east side to the west side, no traffic whatsoever, and then vice versa when that later afternoon, evening time comes. So really be mindful of where you're going to want to live. The public transportation system, again, is free. The ART bus provides a ton of value to the residents here and to anybody that is planning on using it. Now, we do have side buses, and I think it's called ABQ Ride. I seen it the other day, and I just think they blanket statemented it and said ABQ Ride for the whole thing, because they also have like motor coach buses that pick up the elderly people for their appointments and stuff like that if they don't have the means of transportation. Now, a big thing that I'd advise to you guys before you move down here, because all these conversations that I'm having, it really goes one direction, and when we get into the nitty and gritty of it, people start to realize that they want to live in a different area. So for instance, I had a lovely couple that thought that they wanted to move towards the East Mountains, but when they came down here and visited, seen the house and realized that they'd be dealing with snow, potentially closing down the freeway, accessing the city, they said, never mind, let's look somewhere else. And we ended up finding them a beautiful property in El Toro Park. And along that, right, the more further we looked, they also decided that, hey, we probably want to be closer to our amenities, right? The doctors, the Walmarts, the Costco's, the shopping, because we don't want to travel 1 to 2 hours just to get our essentials. So places like Belen, Taos, even down south were pretty much out of the picture. Albuquerque was a perfect fit for them because it fit everything that they needed, and especially with, you know, how much life that they have. They are retired, but they still have so much that they want to do, which is freaking amazing. It gives me something to aspire to live to, and it gives me something to want to join their crew, right? They got the kids off of the payroll crew. They got a term for it. I can't remember it, but if I do, I'll let you guys know in a later video. But all that is awesome. If you guys are thinking about moving down here within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, that number popping up in the screen, guys, is my direct line, because as much as I love doing this, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. But I'm going to head inside for dinner, clean up, enjoy the rest of my evening. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray.